Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description, in every episode description, to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say I'm watching so-and-so show, and then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it, and that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic, one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. One mic. One mic.
Hello patrons, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here with another episode, a new episode of Mike's Musings. This is the 4th edition, Mike's Musings 4, and I just want to start by apologizing to you guys wholeheartedly for how shitty of a job I've done running this channel. I'm sorry, running this Patreon, I should say. I think the channel runs great, but the Patreon, yeah, I haven't been giving you guys the attention that you deserve. It's been one of those things where the channel, it's like it requires so much of me that I fail to consider like the Discord or the Patreon, and it's just because like I'm so obsessed with trying to get the main channel to start like making money and stuff, and I'm always trying to be at the forefront of everything, like watch everything, get a video out right away, all this kind of stuff, and I'm just putting all of this effort into the main channel. It's not an excuse because you guys fucking pay too. So I need to give you guys the attention as well. So it's helped that, I don't want to say that the writer's strike has been a help. I don't think this is because of the writer's strike, but we are experiencing something of a drought in shows coming out like just right now. I'd say probably like mid-June to mid-July. There wasn't too much coming out, but right now with I think Foundation and Full Circle premiere this week, but up until pretty much this moment, I have nothing to cover. Like once Silo ended, that was it. That was the only show I was covering without a new one coming out until the 13th. So, but that made a bit of a drought for the channel, but it opened up an opportunity for me to get some videos recorded from some shows that I watched and liked. It allowed me the opportunity to do this, to get these Mike Musings out to you guys. So if you didn't watch the Future State video, which you will find linked below, I'm probably going to have it up there for the entirety of this video, just so you guys can know what is on deck. So if you don't know what I'm going to be talking about today, the 4 shows, I'm going to be talking about Poker Face, Velma, Abbott, I said 4 shows, 5, Abbott Elementary, Cunk on Earth, and The Mandalorian. If you're curious about what the shows I'm going to talk about on Mike's Musings 5, 6, and 7. All of these are all planned out already, most of which are already recorded. You can find those on that the Future State video that's showing right now at the bottom of the screen down there. So let's get into talking about some of these shows for Mike's Musings 4, and then like I said on the Future State, every Wednesday my intention is to put out a new Mike's Musings, and there's 5 shows per video. I was gonna say episode. 5 shows per video, so that's 20 shows that I'm going to be talking about over the course of the next month, plus the non-spoilery videos that I'm putting out for I'm a Virgo, which if you're watching this on Wednesday, July 12th, the I'm a Virgo video was put up Monday, July 10th. You will find a hijack video that is going to come out sometime in July. All the dates for this are in the Future State video. But Okay, that's enough bullshit. Let's get to talking about the shows. I feel like I've like regurgitated all the same information that I put in the Future State video. So let's talk about some of these shows for Mike's Musing. So I want to start with Poker Face. If you're unfamiliar with Poker Face, I want to tell you. I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna do for all Mike's Musings going forward, and for each video each show within these. I'm gonna give a little bit of a very brief, kind of like, oh, this is how many episodes it is. This is where you can find it. This is a general concept of the show. I'm going to do that for everyone, but I'm also going to talk about why I'm talking about the show here and not on the main channel. So, and I think that's some useful information. So, starting with Poker Face. Poker Face is made by Ryan Johnson, who you guys will probably know the most from the Knives Out mystery series movies. And then also, he did Star Wars Episode 8, of the most recent reboot. He's, of course, done a ton of other shit, but that's, I think, most recently what he's best or worst known for, depending on who you ask. Poker Face was on Peacock. 10 episodes. You need to have a Peacock premium subscription to watch it, although I believe the first episode you can watch for free. But ironically, the first episode is why this show is here in Mike's Musings rather than covered on the channel. So the concept of the show is that Natasha Lyonne's character, Charlie, she has the ability to essentially be a human lie detector. She can look at somebody and just know when they're lying. And what's interesting about this, just for starters, before I even get into talking about this show, her ability to do that is very rarely a factor in how she solves these mysteries, and I just found that to be funny. But the concept is very much like Columbo, which was a show that came on a real fucking long time ago. I don't know when Columbo actively aired, but I was watching it probably reruns in the 80s. So 70s maybe. It starred oh my man, Peter. No, I'm not gonna disrespect my man by not remember his name. Peter Falk. Yes, I didn't have to look it up. Man, Peter Falk is my guy, man. If you guys, side note, if you guys have not seen a movie called Murder by Death, it's like a spoof of like Clue, kind of like this kind of show almost. And what was it? I don't know how I saw it. Like I had a VHS or something like that. But it's funny as fuck. And it stars Peter Falk, who I only know as Columbo, but he's funny as shit in this movie. I'm telling you guys, it's really good. Anyway, it's like Columbo in that they show you the crime and who did it at the very beginning of the show. So that part is not the mystery. The mystery is how did we get here? And it has that same thing as Columbo. And the first episode was the one I found the least interesting. And I'm like, okay, well, I've already seen this done better on Columbo. So, and Natasha Lyonne, for one, Natasha Lyonne, I personally don't consider Natasha Lyonne to be a good actress. And it's not because I think she's a bad actress, it's because I just think that she just plays herself in everything. She's the same person in American Pie, in Russian Doll, in Poker Face, in everything she's ever been in. She's been Natasha Lyonne, it seems like. So I don't particularly consider her to be a good actress, but I thought that first episode, I'm like, okay, I've seen this on Columbo done better and with a better lead. Like, I don't really need to, like, it's not even like I don't need to watch it because I didn't think it was bad or anything like that, but it was just like, I'm not going to devote the amount of time that it takes to cover a show. Like, you guys, like, it's not just the hour of watching the show and then talking about it for 20 minutes. It's like, it doesn't even take me an hour to watch a show because I'm constantly pausing and rewinding, taking my notes. What did that character say? Did I miss something? Let me make sure I get that right. I don't want to miss anything. Like, it might take me an hour and 40 minutes to watch an hour-long show or an hour and a half. Then there's the time it takes for me to take the notes that I was taking while I was watching the episode and kind of like converting that into something that makes these videos flow a little better. That takes long as fuck. Like, that takes like an hour, no bullshit. Then there's the recording of the video. Then there's the editing/rendering of the video, and then the uploading of the video. So think about that. That's one episode. I'm like, it's hard for me to commit doing that 10 times for a show that I'm lukewarm on. So you guys kind of like feel me on that, right? But I kept watching it, and it's interesting because one of the things that I saw in a lot of the people, when people were talking about Poker Face, was they said that it started off great and then kind of fell off for them. And I feel the exact opposite. I thought the first episode was just fine, but I thought that it got progressively better each week. The mysteries got more entertaining. The guest stars got more interesting. The guest stars ended up being incredible. Like, that was one of the best things about the show, each week was like, who's gonna be the guest star and how great of a job are they gonna do? Like Tim Meadows shows up at one point and is great. Judith Light steals the season, I think, in her episode. They do really great jobs with the guest stars and the mystery ultimately. Like I always found the mystery to be compelling. Watching how they got there, all the stuff, the filling in all the details in the episodes, I always found it compelling. And it got to the point where like probably around episode 4 or 5, like I was like checking in for this show at this point. Like I'm like, all right, it's I think it came on Thursdays. All right, it's Thursday, time for a new Poker Face. Like I was all in on this one. So Poker Face is one where if it's it's tonally very much like the Knives Out movies. It's very similar. And then it's like, I want to say, if you're a Natasha Lyonne fan, you are definitely gonna fuck with this, because I'm not, and I fuck with it. So like, I think if you're not a Natasha Lyonne fan and you also like the Knives Out movies, you're gonna fucking bust a nut watching this show. It'll be your fucking wet dream, man. I'm telling you. But I thought it was really great. I believe it's been renewed for a second season. I will be covering it if that happens. So I will be totally taking back I'm not covering Poker Face. I will absolutely be fucking covering Poker Face season 2 whenever that happens, if that happens. So yeah, big thumbs up on that one. That one's probably going to end up in my honorable mentions for 2023. It's not in my top. If I made a top 10 right now, it would be in it, but it would be probably a little bit toward the bottom half of it. And I suspect that enough stuff's going to come out in the second half of the year that's going to push that would have pushed it out. But either way, it will get an honorable mention during my best of 2023 video in January 2024. And when it does get its honorable mention, when I talk about it, I will be referring to this video. Like, hey, if you want to hear my thoughts on Poker Face, Mike's Musings 4 is where you find it. So that's all I got to say about Poker Face. The next thing I want to talk about was Velma. So Velma was 10 episodes. It was on what was HBO Max at the time and is now Max. It is, I can't remember who it's created by, but Mindy Kaling is very much involved, I believe, in the creation and the development of it. And then she voices Velma. And then it also has I'm not trying to frame this in an insulting way, but I'm using a term that everyone's gonna understand what I mean when I say it. But this ain't that. But I just want to use the term so you guys can understand what I mean. People who use this term incorrectly would call this show too woke. So the reason I say that, you got Velma. Now, you know how white people feel when a traditionally white character is now a brown character. They completely shit their pants and vomit. That's what happens here. So Velma, classically white on Scooby-Doo, now Indian, voiced by Mindy Kaling. They develop kind of like a lesbian relationship between Velma and Daphne, which, I mean, hey, who's gonna argue with that? Nobody. There's probably a shit ton of fucking Velma and Daphne fucking fantasy porn on the internet somewhere. I mean, somewhere, probably in a lot of places. But I guess they kind of decided, hey, we're gonna give all of these these 60-year-old Scooby fans their wet dream of Velma and Daphne. But they do that. Shaggy is black, and he goes by his actual name, Norval. Fred is the one person who's still white and just like regular, and they make him shitty. Like, he's like entitled. He's like a coward. He's such a fucking douchebag. And like, they made like the traditional white man the fucking worst character on the show. And then he's surrounded by an Indian woman, a white lesbian, and a black guy. So yeah, people who use the term incorrectly will find this show to be very much too woke. I don't care about any of that shit. The show, I think, went very much for the same vibe and tone as the Harley Quinn show that also comes on HBO Max. I'm sorry, Max. So much so that I think the creators of this show should be ashamed of themselves, if I'm being honest. Like, I mean, the animation style, the joke style, even Mindy Kaling's voice as Velma sounds similar to Kaylee Cuoco's voice as Harley Quinn on that show. So it's like, it feels like whoever created this was like, and Mindy Kaling were like, oh, the Harley Quinn thing, oh, I love that. Let me make something just like that and not even try to hide that I'm making something just like that. Like, it's exactly like Harley Quinn, guys, I'm telling you. But Harley Quinn's really fucking good, and I enjoyed Velma, man. Like I'm sitting there the whole time, like, yo, this shit is like fake woke. All the things that I said, I'm like, it's ripping off Harley Quinn. All that kind of shit, I'm like, but it's ripping off Harley Quinn, and I'm fucking laughing. Like, I'm enjoying it. It had an interesting mystery that was like a through line throughout the entire first season. I don't know if it's getting a second one or not. If it is, I won't be covering it. I may not even watch it, depending on when it comes out. But like, I'm telling you, like, okay, so this is the best way to watch Velma. And if you watch my channel, you already know what I'm gonna say. Just get fucked up, like, get high, get whatever, and go watch the Velma show or whatever. And it's entertaining, man. Like, is it like good? Not really. Like, it's fine, but it's entertaining, and I don't know. I had fun with it. Like I said, depending on when it comes out, if it gets a second season, I'd probably watch it as long as it's not interfering with another thing that I watch that's better. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna say 2 thumbs up on Velma. It's not gonna make my honorable mentions or anything like that. But I think it is a good little popcorn show to watch if you're looking for some risque TVMA Scooby-Doo vibes. There you go. Actually, it's not really like Scooby-Doo because there's not a mystery each episode that needs to be solved. There's kind of like a through line kind of mystery that pertains to Velma and her mother. So, and there's other things too, but not quite like Scooby in that sense. But you guys get the point. So moving on, talking about Abbott Elementary, season 2. Season 2 I thought was not as funny as season 1. I thought the cracks in the show started to show a lot more in season 2. Excuse me. And that is by no means me saying that season 2 isn't any good. It's just not as good as season 1. And you could tell that it kind of felt like they were asked to do more episodes than they were capable of doing. And I don't want to presume to know what Quinta Brunson, like, what she can or cannot handle, what she had or did not have planned, like, what she was or was not asked. Like, I shouldn't presume that, but the reason I say it is that I feel like when I say that the cracks in this show started the show in season 2, we had way too many Janine thinks she knows everything but learns a lesson episodes. Like, that was like it became very obvious that was kind of like the bones of what this show is going to be. Like, Janine is a good person, and she means well, and she's happy, and she's overly excited, and she thinks she's a great teacher because she means well, but then she's going to learn that that's not how things work, and you have to do this, and that. Like, they wore that the fuck out in season 2. Like, I kind of got annoyed. Like, okay, I get it. Janine thinks she knows everything, but she don't. Got it. And then they also wore out this will they, won't they fuck thing with Janine and Everybody Hates Chris. Like, I don't... They dragged that out for so fucking long, I don't even kinda, sorta, partially give a fuck about that anymore. Matter of fact, I actually don't want to see it anymore. Like, I don't want them to date. I think it might be interesting, like, if they had conflict, like if they had beef for like half a season. Like, something to interject some life into this, because the will they, won't they fuck thing with them is so fucking tired. It's so cliche, such a big trope in any kind of network television show, period. Fuck, it's a trope in all fucking things ever. Like, will they or what they fuck. But like, they dragged this out for way too long, and it's like, even when or if it happens, whenever this is resolved, either they do or they decide that they won't, which they kind of sort of, I don't know, whatever. But if that happens, by the time that happens, I won't care. I don't care anymore. Please don't show me any more of Janine and Everybody Hates Chris. Will they, won't they fuck? I don't care. But the show remains really fucking funny. I felt like it was almost like Cheryl Lee Ralph got the Emmy for season 1 and it like boosted her, like it leveled her up or some shit. She's even better in season 2 than she was in season 1. Like, man, she is so good. And it's funny because like, I remember her from Moesha back in, I want to say, the 90s. And she just played the mom, and it was your standard sitcom, but like, the mom wasn't the... It was on no network sitcom was the mom kind of like the starring role. It kind of always surrounded the kids. Like Like you had like Sister Sister. It was about the kids and the two girls and the neighbor. And you had Parenthood. You had Moesha. It was like all about the kids, right? So she didn't really get an opportunity to show her comedic chops like she does on this. And man, she is so good in season 2. Like, man, great. The entire supporting cast on this show is great. A woman who plays, Melissa, outstanding. The guy who plays, the male teacher. Oh gosh, I have too many things in my head to like remember. Like, I don't know. It's like some things push other things off the plate. So like remembering that the Italian teacher's name was Melissa pushed the name of the of the male teacher off my plate. But fuck. Anyway, he's great. I watched a couple episodes of what was the show? It was on HBO and it was about gay guys. Oh, Looking. I think he's in that. And he's good on that too. So like I really like that actor. I think he's great on this show. To me, he's one of my favorite parts of the show. I think he's really good. And then of course, Mr. Johnson, the janitor or whatever, he was great. They brought in my man from Hamilton for a little bit for this weird storyline with charter schools. I don't know. It had its ups and downs, but I feel like by and large, it is still a funny show. They just need to find something different to do other than Janine learns a lesson and will they, won't they fuck with Janine and everybody hates Chris. Give me something different. Give me a little bit more drama. Ava was great, by the way, as she always is. So yeah, I mean, like I said, not as good as season 2. Still funny, still solid, but the flaws are starting to show themselves, and I hope that, provided that a season 3 happens, that they iron some of that stuff out. Give me something a little different. So moving on, Cunk on Earth is the next thing I want to talk about. So Cunk on Earth, it's like, fuck, I didn't write down how many episodes it is. I think it's 6, I want to say. It's one of those BBC shows that ends up on Netflix. Dry British humor. Basically, the concept is it's a documentary kind of show. It's hosted by someone named Philomena Cunk, and she explains the history of the world, and each episode is a different era, like a different time period, like the Renaissance or something like that, right? But it's this dry British humor where it's like she's explaining like, oh, this is the history of that, but like sly little comments are getting thrown in, and the delivery is so it's just so straight-faced that I don't know, it makes it 10 times funnier. Like, I really go for the British style of humor. It just really works for me. And then she does these interviews with these historians to talk about whatever era of history she's talking about at that time. And I don't believe the historians understand that it's like a spoof kind of show. So like, it's kind of got that Sacha Baron Cohen kind of vibe to it, where it's like, you know, he's not for real, but the people around him don't. So like, she does these interviews and she asks these ridiculous fucking questions, and like the people don't know how to take it, and that makes it even funnier. Like, this is another one, man. Watching it high is great. But like, I don't give a fuck about whether or not a BBC documentary style comedy belongs in a fucking best of list. This shit's going in there because nothing's gonna make me laugh that fucking hard and that fucking often and not end up being mentioned in my best of list. So I don't know where it's gonna be. I'm not gonna put something like that in my top 10, but it's gonna be in the honorable mentions, and it's gonna be spoken of probably a lot more highly than some of the honorable mentions. Because again, I'm not easy to please when it comes to comedy, and this shit, I started looking for other Philomena Cunk stuff on the internet because I'm like, give me everything this woman does, give it to me because I want to see it, because that shit was so fucking funny. I cannot stress enough how if you are into that kind of British humor, you are gonna fucking love this show. So that's on Netflix. Find it. I think it's only like 6 episodes, about 30 minutes a piece. Hilarious, easy watch, easily the funniest thing I've seen so far this year. We're at July. I can't think of anything else that I think like. I'll have a Mike's Musings later where I talk about The Righteous Gemstones, which is a currently airing great comedy. But man, Cunk on Earth, best funniest thing I've seen all year. And then lastly, I want to wrap up this Mike's Music episode by talking about The Mandalorian. So, The Mandalorian had its third season this year. I think another 8 episodes. Not a great season. Very, very weak. Most of it seemed to have no real point. It focused a lot on Bo-Katan's quest to kind of like lead the Mandalorians. And it felt very disjointed for like the vast majority, because I like by episode 5 or 6 I'm still like, what is this season even about? Like we just gonna follow Bo-Katan trying to, like, I don't know, try to do what, become a leader? Like I don't know, but it was all over the place, very disjointed, uninteresting. I mean, it had a couple of episodes, but I mean, there was a lot to not like here. I don't know if this is the final season, but if it's not, it should be. Oh wait, no, I think they said, no, I remember they said they're wrapping this up with a movie. So it's these 3 seasons and then a movie. Good luck with the movie. This season was not good. I'm gonna read you guys a quote from my comments on episode 5 or 6, and I still believe this to be true. And when I was looking up some of my thoughts, it helps me I do those live things on Facebook. It helps me to be able to go find those things so I can see what I was feeling about something while I was watching it. That is a very, trust me guys, side note, that is a very valuable fucking tool to be able to see your thoughts and how you felt live at the time. Not like, hey, last night I watched so-and-so, or last week I watched so-and-so. It's like, no, I am watching this right now and it fucking sucks, or whatever, right? That's been a very useful tool for me. But I'm gonna read this quote that I wrote, and I feel like this quote is very much what I think was the problem with this season. I said, I can't imagine anyone is as invested in Bo-Katan uniting and leading the Mandalorians as the show thinks we are. That's what I think was the central problem in this season, is that they thought we gave a fuck about this and we don't. Episode 6 was a real low point in not just the season, but in the entire series. It opened up with a really bad sequence with Jack Black and Lizzo. Oh, it was cringe, man. And what's funny is, like, that episode became something kind of interesting, but like it became kind of fun. Like I don't remember, they sent them on some sort of quest or whatever, and the actual quest ended up being entertaining to watch. But the opening shit with Jack Black and Lizzo, it was so bad, and I'm just like, oh, what is happening right now to one of my favorite shows? Like, I'm always gonna remember The Mandalorian, like one of the first is the first Star Wars TV show, but like on Disney Plus. But it was one of the first things that like when Disney Plus launched, it was like, hey, The Mandalorian, that's gonna be our thing. And the first season was so good, the second season was really good. To have this one just have so many weak points, it fucking sucked. But I think it was either the finale or I think it was the finale, and then there was one other episode where the artwork, you know how they do the artwork during the credits, and it's moments from the episode. The finale one was incredible. Like, I don't know why they have not put out a book with all of the end credits pictures, man. Like a fucking picture book. Like, I would buy that thing for, like, I don't even know. Like, you put any fucking price on it, I'd fucking buy it, man. Like, I don't know why they haven't done that. But this season has some of the best artwork, man. Like, like I said, the finale stuff was incredible. And there was another episode where I remember commenting on the Facebook. I said something like, this is a great credits worth of artwork. It's too bad I got robbed of the theme. Like, they played something different. I think they played a different version of the theme during the end credits of whatever episode that was. But I remember the artwork being really good and being like, oh man, I wish I had the regular fucking theme. But, and then that cycled back to the comments that I made. Yeah, it was the finale. The comments I made on the finale, because I said something to the effect of like, this is the best artwork of the whole series, and this time I got the actual fucking music. Something to that effect. So, The Mandalorian, if you haven't watched it, don't. It's not worth watching. The third season, I mean. I mean, obviously, if you watched 1 and 2, you probably would watch number 3 anyway, and if you haven't watched it already, what the fuck? But, yeah, I wasn't a fan of it. So, real quick to recap, we're coming up on half an hour here. Poker Face, 2 massive thumbs up. I will be covering a season 2 if it gets that. If you have not yet watched Poker Face, you need to get a Peacock premium account. $5 a month. Steal it from your friends. Whatever the fuck. Watch Poker Face. I promise you will enjoy it. And that is one I will be covering if it gets a second season. And so you'll be wanting to follow along with that as well. Velma, that's on HBO Max. It's Harley Quinn, but it's like I said, the people who use the term wrong are gonna say that it's too woke. But it's got like Fred is a douchey white guy. He's the worst character on the show. The white man is the worst character on the show. And then you got Indian Velma, lesbian Daphne, and Black Shaggy. It's just too woke it's just too woke. But at the end of the day, it's very much like Harley Quinn, and I think it is pretty funny, and it is pretty entertaining. It's not great. It's not something where I'm like, oh, you gotta watch Velma. But I mean, if you like Harley Quinn and you're looking for something to watch that's similar to that, Velma will scratch your Harley Quinn itch. Abbott Elementary Season 2, not as good as Season 1, but still funny. Supporting cast was great. Cheryl Lee Ralph was absolutely incredible, but they're wearing out. Janine thinks she knows everything, and she needs to learn a lesson, and they're wearing out the will they want they fuck with Janine and Everybody Hates Chris. Cunk on Earth, my favorite comedic thing I've seen this year. Documentary style comedy on Netflix. From BBC, I believe. Just uproariously funny. But again, dry British humor is my vibe. If you already know you don't like that, then you ain't gonna like this show, but I absolutely loved it. And then to close out, The Mandalorian Season 3, not good. I'd go as far as to say it was a bad season. It had a couple of high moments, most of which was the artwork, but it didn't seem to know what it wanted to do. It was all over the place. It didn't have a point, it seemed like, until very late in the season. Jack Black and Lizzo were a pretty big low point in this season. And that's all I have for Mike's Musings 4, sorry. Here's a preview of 5, though. So Mike's Musings 5, which will be out, let's see, that would be July 19th. I'll be talking about Bel Air, which is on Peacock. That's the dramatic version of Fresh Prince of Bel Air, Season 2 of that. Beef, which was on Netflix. Rabbit Hole, which was on Paramount Plus. You, which was on Netflix, and White House Plumbers, which was on HBO. So those are the shows for Mike's Musings 5. I will see you guys next week to talk about those, and until then, peace.